Well, with our last story of the day, I want to give you updates on Afghanistan here. Remember when Joe Biden just rolled out of bed one morning and just had a spasm attack and dialed the phone number to say, hey, let's pull out of Afghanistan without really any thought behind it? And look, the progressive left are going, oh, well, there's a lot of thought behind it. They had a whole plan. Yeah, really? Really? Because now they run roughshod over an entire country, work in conjunction with Russia and China, leaving $7 billion of military-grade equipment to the Taliban, who hate us, who want to see death to America, very similar to Iran. No, if that was your plan, then you shouldn't be in office right now because you did a terrible job of getting out of there. 13 American soldiers blown up. You got hundreds of Afghans falling from planes, hundreds of feet in the air, dying. Well, now, not only that, but a U.S. colonel turned away 4 busloads of Americans in Afghanistan. And not just Americans, but orphans and other verified paperwork guaranteeing safe passage out of Afghanistan. Members of a volunteer evacuation team claimed in a new documentary. So, you heard that correctly. A U.S. Army colonel turned away 4 busloads of Americans, orphans, and others that were guaranteed safety to be left to killed, to be raped, pillaged, whatever it may be by the Taliban. And we all know that they do some savage things to people, very similar to ISIS, beheadings, lighting people on fire, lighting people's babies on fire, making them eat it in front of everybody else, being gang raped. But hey, he did a fabulous job of getting out of Afghanistan. Democrats don't want to blame him for anything. Joe Biden's doing a fabulous job of running this country, folks. There's not a single thing to complain about. The members, comprised of military and security veterans, conducted an evacuation blitz in the final days of U.S. occupation of Afghanistan, rushing to save stranded Americans and other vulnerable groups who qualified before the Taliban took control of the country. The operator said in a new Amazon Prime video, "Send Me," that an unnamed U.S. Army colonel murdered hundreds of potential evacuees by refusing them spots on flights out of the country because their papers could have been faked, according to the Daily Mail. Isn't that something you should have thought before you kind of pulled out of the country, of creating paperwork that couldn't be faked? No, but you don't want to think about that. You just had to get everybody out quick, leaving, like I said, military-grade equipment behind, like thousands of Humvees, all this ammunition, Black Hawk helicopters, all sorts of stuff. It was done perfectly, you guys, according to the Democrat Party. There's nothing to complain about here. Can you imagine if Trump actually left this way? Because let's be honest, Trump was talking about getting out of Afghanistan, but he was also told, because one of the conversations he had with the military was, well, what are we going to do with the equipment? What are we going to do about all the people there? We need a strategy. We just can't leave $7 billion. And we know what the military told him? Oh, well, it'll be cheaper just to leave it there. Forget the taxpayer dollars. Forget the actual research and development, the R&D that went into it, the technology that surpasses a lot of people in the world. We'll leave it behind. It's not a big deal. They don't know how to use helicopters, as there's videotape literally the same day that after we pulled out of them, trying to fly it around and everything like that, using our freaking exercise equipment. It's so baffling. It's so baffling that the media aren't on this. If this was a conservative Republican, they'd be everywhere. They'd be pouncing 24/7 coverage, left and right, nonstop. It's so frustrating, the freaking bias that our media has, man. Former Army Ranger and MMA fighter Tim Kennedy said the incident took place on August 25th, 2021, days before the American withdrawal concluded. Kennedy's team of highly skilled specialists had driven 4 buses filled with hundreds of people through a secret U.S. military-controlled gate in Kabul's International Airport at 3 a.m. The evacuees' documents have been verified, and the group, comprised of Americans, allies, Christians, orphans, and others, were preparing to board a flight out of Afghanistan, which the Taliban controlled at that point. A colonel with the 82nd Airborne met the bus and allegedly demanded they all be sent away. Quote, "No, I don't care who they are. Those people get back on those buses and they go back to Kabul. Get them off this base," the colonel said, according to Kennedy. Kennedy then said, "There's not enough capacity in my soul to be able to mourn 4 busloads of people that are about to die because the time spent on anguish and mourning could have been spent saving other people." Former Force Recon Marine Chad Robicox, and I'm mispronouncing his name, another member of the elite evacuation team, said the colonel had essentially just killed the group by sending them back over the airport in the view of the Taliban, which would identify them and hunt them down for working with Americans. And hunting them down doesn't even do justice to what the Taliban are going to do to them and have done to them. Can you imagine? I mean, we all know what happened to Christians: lit on fire, beheaded, cut and chopped up, electrified. I mean, the amount of things and just horrible things that are done to these people. And like I said, these are things that Democrats don't want to talk about. Why? Because it's suffering. It makes them uneasy. But it was their decision making and Biden's decision making that led to all of this, when it should have just been planned out accordingly and done correctly. Obviously, we're in hindsight here, but you got to know. I mean, you have to know that you left thousands, tens of thousands of Americans behind. Glenn Beck of The Blaze did a massive fundraising and went in himself and freaking flew people out. But it was the military that's supposed to be taking care of Americans. I mean, that is literally their job, to keep you safe, both foreign and abroad, and they don't even do it. And I guess now in hindsight, it shouldn't come as a shock with Biden's handling of the U.S.-Mexico border, violent drug cartel coming across, the fentanyl, just the massive amount of smuggling, the sex trafficking. They're sex trafficking freaking young kids now. That was sent by a viewer. Thank you so much. Again, if you have anything you want me to read, folks, I do read my email. So send me the stuff in the email that's down below. I do read them all. I did get the video clip of them smuggling children. It's unbelievable what's taking place, but Joe Biden doesn't care. He doesn't give a damn. The Democrats don't care. They're the ones running the show. That's why I'm blaming them for everything. They have all three branches. They control everything. Who are we going to blame other than them? And I love it because when Republicans control something, they're all about blaming them. But now that they're controlling something, nobody's to blame. This is all fine. Nothing to see here, folks. Like I said, it's all smoke, no fire. Don't investigate it. Don't see what's going on, because it's just going to be handled in the same way Benghazi was. A total S-storm. Nobody got in trouble. Hillary Clinton walked free. Very similar to freaking her whole email in the bathroom. The server just walked away scotch-free, was told by the FBI, James Comey, that she freaking, actually broke the law, but it's never been prosecuted. It's never gone to trial for it, so we're not going to do it. So that's how people walk free. Nobody's going to get in trouble here for 4 busloads of Americans and others being left behind to be killed by the Taliban and whatever it may be. And that's just the 4 buses. It doesn't talk about the thousands upon thousands of Americans that were left behind, and the American government left them out to dry, screwed them over. And I hope that if any of those people made it, they really see the true colors of the Democrat Party through it, because that's not even the worst thing they've done in U.S. history, but it's definitely up there. The final days of the 20-year U.S. involvement in Afghanistan ended in chaos and bloodshed a day after the alleged episode with the Army colonel and ISIS-affiliated terrorists detonated a suicide bomb outside the airport's perimeter, again killing the 13 service members and hundreds of Afghan civilians. U.S. military launched a retaliatory drone strike 4 days later, but mistakenly killed 10 civilians, including 7 children, instead of Islamic State operative. Remember, there wasn't really any coverage on that. I think it was like a family that Joe Biden blew up. Nobody talked about it. I mean, this is still news to this day. When I bring up that little snippet to people, it's still news to them that Joe Biden literally blew up like a family and like 7 children. Nobody batted an eye over it. Democrats didn't say anything. The target of the strike ended up being an aid worker who worked for a California-based company. Kennedy appeared on Fox News Friday and urged the U.S. to learn from the deadly mistakes from President Joe Biden's withdrawal from Afghanistan. Yeah, you think, but they don't want to talk about it because they're all about revisionist history. Again, you can literally beat this till you're blue in the face, red in the face, whatever color you want, on the mishandling of not just Joe Biden's foreign policy, not just Afghanistan, not just the economy, not just that we're in a recession, not just causing inflation and still causing inflation with the student loan debt forgiveness. The Inflation Reduction Act doesn't actually reduce any inflation. What's taking place statewide in terms of his party controlling and running roughshod over the cities where business owners don't want to pay taxes anymore until officials clean up the city. I mean, it is thing after thing with this guy. All they could say about Trump, oh, he said a mean thing. Joe Biden doesn't just say mean things like telling Peter Doocy he's a dumb son of a bitch, or that Mitt Romney's gonna put all you black people back in chains when he was running originally for president back when. No, we're not gonna talk about those. Or are we gonna talk about his mishandling of literally everything? They don't talk about anything with Joe Biden. They're stoked that he can freaking eat an ice cream. Oh, what flavor ice cream is that, President? It's chocolate chip ice cream. It's like, whoa! They literally said that. Go back and watch the clip. Oh, like they were astonished. They see the guy ride the bike for like 50 feet and he falls off and they're still amazed. I mean, Joy Behar literally was bragging about how she was told from Joe Biden that he works out every morning. Like that was the big news for her. And she was so floored about it. So this is the way we run our country nowadays. This is the way the media want to handle everything. But when you get a conservative or Republican in office, you're going to see a different view from them. Totally different view. Nothing but animals and vultures going after us. I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Bald Brad Show. If you did, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all our future content.